Hello, good morning, this is Mike Jolly. Welcome along to BBC Radio Kent. Welcome to Friday. We've made it. And in celebration of that, football is really coming home. Well, the tabletop version is. Subbuteo, The Subbuteo World Cup starts today, right here in Kent, the very place it was invented. The finger-flicking football game was at its peak popularity in the 1970s and 80s when families and friends would clear a space at home to create their own cup final. We celebrate the Subbuteo World Cup through the programme this morning. And we're also talking... So we can announce exclusively on this programme, football is coming home. The tabletop version is particularly going to be important over this weekend because the Subbuteo World Cup begins today in our county of Kent, the very place it was invented. It was particularly popular in the 1970s and 80s when families and friends would clear a space at home to create their own cup final.
Here we are at the Subbuteo Stadium. Here come the teams. It's England versus Brazil. England kick off. A beautiful ball, and there's a quick breakaway. Oh, good play. England shoot. Save, and it's a corner. England take the kick. It's pushed away. It's a goal. So it's 1-0 to England.
Play the world's greatest sport with Subbuteo.
Yeah. 32 countries are expected to take part in the event, which is being held in venues across Tunbridge Wells this weekend. The fast-moving tournament will see competitors take turns to flick miniature models of football players around a replica pitch in an attempt to push the ball into a goal. Now, later in the programme, if you were listening in the first hour, the good news is at 9, we're going to be hot-footing it up to Tunbridge Wells to Royal Victoria Place, where we're going to take the show live for the final hour to where some of that action is taking place. But first, just one moment. I seem to have lost almost everything I needed there. Just 1 minute. This is BBC Radio Kent, and we will be back with our guest in just a moment. We are talking Subbuteo, and on the line now I've got Stewart Grant, organiser of the Subbuteo World Cup. Stewart, good morning. What exactly is Subbuteo for those who don't know?
Subbuteo is the greatest tabletop game ever. That's exactly what it is. It is a scaled down game of football, 11-a-side, where we play exactly as you normally would in football, but with little figures that you flick around to kick the ball and then, like you said, score a goal. So this weekend it's coming home. We've got, you just said in your build-up about clearing a place we used to do at home. Yeah. Now we clear sports centres and shopping centres. We've got the traditional game as we used to play, being played over at the shopping centre that you guys are coming over to later. That's going to be great. And then Saturday and Sunday at the sports centre, we've got the big main event, the Fistiff World Cup. Fistiff being like our FIFA, where I'm watching at the moment, gantries being set up with live cameras ready to stream it to the world. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. A real festival of football coming home to Tunbridge Wells. Yeah, it's very, very exciting. We're going to be there at 9 and look forward to meeting you there. Just talk to us about how Subbuteo is played then. So it's quite simple. People think it's a really hard thing to do because you've got the round base, but it's very simple. All you do, you flick your player when you're in possession of the ball. You flick your player. He hits the ball moves forward. When you then get into the final quarter of the pitch, you can shoot. If you're defending, you flick your player. You're not allowed to hit the ball or the player because you're just defending, but you can try and get in the way. And then possession changes if the attacking player misses the ball or hits the ball onto the defending team, and then play switches teams. Simple as that. It's so simple to play.
Yeah, and I can remember it as a kid. I wasn't really into football myself, but I was really entranced by Subbuteo because I can remember my older brother sort of smoothing out the pitch. You had to do that on a tabletop, or sometimes everyone was sort of on the carpet playing as well.
That's it.
So you must be a big fan then. You still play a lot of Subbuteo yourself.
Personally, I'm a massive fan of the game. I got into this through just collecting and wanting to build that stadium that we all see in the sort of paraphernalia as a kid. So I got into it through collecting, and through there I've got into playing, meeting people. And it's great. Do you know what? We always talk about kids on screens and playing computer games. This is one of them games where people come out, and I've seen it with kids come out, play the game, even adults coming together, beating that social anxiety, getting together in a sports centre or a hall or even a pub sometimes and playing Subbuteo. It's fantastic, not just to play football and have fun, but to meet people and get out and, you know what I mean? It's so important in this world, and beat the mental health. It's done wonders for so many people, and I keep seeing it. And that's why my love for it grows now, because the community involved is absolutely fantastic. Well, we can say that about the community, because to put on this World Cup, the UK community has really come together to help us do this. It's not just us guys that run the game. It's the whole game in itself. All the players from the minor clubs are all together in Tunbridge Wells.
Really exciting. Talk to us about who is then representing England.
So if you go over to the shopping centre today, where you guys are coming over at 9, in the old rules, we've got some players that have been playing for a long, long time. We've got a gentleman called Justin Finch playing. We've got Simon Goodman playing. We've got some players that used to be Italian who have now come over and played for England. So we've got a fantastic chance over there in the old rules. I personally think I'd love to see Justin win it. So Justin, years ago, he played as a kid in the 80s. He'd done loads of publicity then, and he still plays today. So it'd be great to see him win that over there. And then over at the Sports Centre, over at the weekend, we've got representation in every category for the first time. So we've got kids in the under 12. We've got a women's team. There's under 16s, under 20s. Our under 16s competition, we've got real big hopes for that. We've got a young lady called Ruby Matthews who plays very well. In the open event, we've got a gentleman called Elliot Belafonte who's done very, very well recently. It should be... This is our time. We've never won it before. We've only ever finished second in 2007. And because it's on our own turf, we feel like we might be able to win it this time.
Yeah, it's got to be our year, hasn't it? So where can people... Just remind us exactly where people can go to watch. All of this is happening in Tunbridge Wells, right?
It is all around. The Tunbridge Wells is really, they're so proud of their heritage with Subbuteo, and they've really taken to it. So if you want to watch today, you can head over to Royal Victoria Place. We're up on the second floor, just outside French Connection, I believe. There's the Old Rules tournament going on there. That will be on till approximately 5:30. Tomorrow, there'll be a tournament on in there as well. And then on Sunday, there's a fun day. But you can also come over to Tunbridge Wells Sports Centre, where I'm watching them set up 48 tables at the moment.
Hang on a minute. 48 Subbuteo tables.
That's it, 48 Subbuteo tables. That's where everyone's coming in, because we've got 300 players coming from 28 countries. This is the main event is in the Sports Centre. Come down, free entry. It's absolutely fantastic.
Do you know how many games in total are going to be played this weekend?
Oh, I've seen the plan. I've seen the spreadsheet, and I'll be honest, the maths is way beyond me. I play Subbuteo. I don't do maths.
And it's the first time the tournament's been held right here in Kent, which was the birthplace of the game. So that really is special.
Well, that's it. That's why it's the biggest World Cup ever. When we originally put our bid in a couple of years ago, we thought about different places, Milton Keynes. We thought about maybe doing Manchester, which happened a few years ago. We thought, no, let's do Tunbridge Wells. Let's bring it home, especially with it being the 75th anniversary a couple of years ago. We thought, let's do it, Tunbridge Wells. And the reason players are coming here from as far as Australia and Brazil, and some of them have been in Tunbridge Wells for a couple of days, is so they can go around and see the Subbuteo sites and take in the heritage of the game.
Yeah, really exciting. We cannot wait to be up there in Tunbridge Wells with you at Royal Victoria Place. We're going to have to hot foot it. Yeah, looking forward to meeting you. Lots more to talk about when we do meet you. For now, Stewart Grant, who is the organiser of that event, thank you very much indeed. In just a moment, we're going to be... Breakfast in America, so I've put on my running shoes. And me and producer Annabelle are going to be hot-footing it, I think, up the road in Tunbridge Wells to Royal Victoria Place. So look forward to speaking to you from there in the next hour. Right now, the news is next week. Hello, this is Mike Jollick on BBC Radio Kent. That was Bonnie Tyler holding out for a hero. And as you've been hearing, football really is coming home. So I'm on my way to Tunbridge Wells. I'm hot-footing it towards Royal Victoria Place, where the Subbuteo World Cup is about to start. I'll see you after we hear this from Desmond Decker. Hello. Hello, good morning, and welcome to Tunbridge Wells, to Royal Victoria Place. Good morning. You're listening to the Wake Up Call with Mike Shollick.
And me, Phil Harrison. We're going to be bringing you a very special edition of the live programme here from Tunbridge Wells, where an international finger-flicking competition is about to take place.
Yes, the Subbuteo World Cup starts today right here in Kent, the very place it was invented.
And the tabletop football game was at its peak of popularity in the 1970s and 80s, a glory time. That's when families and friends would clear a space at home to create their own cup final.
Here we are at the Subbuteo Stadium. Here come the teams. It's England versus Brazil. England kick off. A beautiful ball, and there's a quick breakaway. Oh, good play. England shoot. What a save, and it's a corner. England take the kick. It's pushed away. It's a goal. So it's 1-0 to England.
Play the world's greatest sport
32 countries
with
are
Subbuteo.
expected to take part in the event. 32 countries are expected to take part in the event, which is being held in venues right across Tunbridge Wells this weekend.
Yeah, we can see players from Wales, USA, Portugal, Cyprus, Greece, and of course good old England as well. And it's a fast-moving tournament, competitors taking turns to flick these miniature models of football players around replica pitches in an attempt to push the football into the goal.
And throughout this hour, we're going to be speaking to the experts, players, and the organiser of this event. So please do stick around with us and don't flick that dial. It's only those Subbuteo pieces that you need to do. This is great. The atmosphere here is electric in Royal Victoria Place. A load of people already here. There's probably about 60 people already around me. And with us now is Lambert, Subbuteo collector and toy expert. You might recognise him from the TV programme Cash in the Attic, and also Antiques Roadshow. Lawrence, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
We're great. What a great atmosphere there is around us here at Royal Victoria Place for the Subbuteo World Cup.
Unbelievable, and it started for me on the train coming in from London this morning. The train guard noticed my Subbuteo badge, sat and talked to me for half an hour about all the sets he had when he was a kid, and then strangely I ran in at Orpington to some fans with their scarves coming in to watch the tournament. How fantastic!
How brilliant is that? And for those who don't know what Subbuteo is, can you just describe it in a few words for us?
It's a tabletop flicking sensation, a game that was developed in Kent, Langton Green, back in the late 40s, and is still with us today.
And I know that you're a Subbuteo collector. Why do you do that? What is it you love about this tabletop game?
Well, it's a 3D experience, you can imagine. And when you're a 10-year-old kid, all sorts of imaginations can come with you playing on the field with your own team, with your own names, your own players, and it sticks. It's generational, and I'm happy to say it's back with us with a bang, even for the younger under-12 groups that are playing in the tournament.
So you got into it clearly as a kid, and it's just absolutely stuck with you through, I'm not going to say how many years, but clearly it's been with you a few years.
Over 60, I would have said. It's been with me for a long time. And similarly, as I said, it's generational. It's still in the shops. It's still able to be on a tabletop display anywhere around Tunbridge Wells this weekend. So come and have a flick.
And I know you're a collector, so you must have a pretty substantial collection at home.
A fair bit. A lot of it's in storage, actually, but a lot of it's been donated to the V&A or even to the Tunbridge Wells Museum. There's an exhibition on in Tunbridge Wells at the Amelia Scott Centre during this tournament and a little after, I think right up until January. So come down and check it out. Have a look at the old style and compare that to the new stuff that we've got going on at the moment.
And the event is taking place in Tunbridge Wells for good reason. It was invented right here in Kent. Very, very special that it's taking place here this weekend. It's the first time, I think, it's happened here.
Well, the last World Cup in the UK was in Manchester in 2012, so football is definitely coming home, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That's Lambert, Subbuteo collector and toy expert. You will recognise him from Cash in the Attic, and of course he's very often on Antiques Roadshow as well. Thank you very much, Lawrence. He's going to be here for the next hour of the programme, so if you've got a question for him, you can get in touch right now. You can also share your Subbuteo memories with us on the show today. 08000 321 333. Start your message with the word Kent. Or if you are in the vicinity of Tunbridge Wells, pop down and see us. Come and say hello. We're live at the Royal Victoria Place Shopping Centre in Tunbridge Wells until 10. Let's take some music now from Dasher. Hello, good morning. We are live in Tunbridge Wells for the last hour of the wake-up call. We are in Royal Victoria Place, the shopping centre, where the Subbuteo World Cup kicks off today. With me, BBC Radio Kent's very own Phil Harrison, a big Subbuteo fan.
Oh, very much so. I mean, I'm not a fan of 1970s gags or anything, but I don't think you'd get a collection of so many middle-aged men in a shopping centre at 9 o'clock in the morning for anything other than Subbuteo. It's such a good game. I mean, I grew up playing it in the 1980s, Mike. Me and my brother, my friends, we'd take over the dining room table and we'd have tournaments sort of all throughout the holidays. Random teams like Fulham versus Bournemouth and Norwich against Queen's Park Rangers, and we'd work it all the way through, and many of us taking on some of our favourite teams, and it would go on for hours and hours and hours, and a good flicking experience, good fun. And I'm so pleased that there's so many other people here that share my passion for this brilliant game that was invented in Tunbridge Wells by Peter Adult, of course, 1947 in Langton Green.
Incredible memories, also memories coming in from our listeners this morning. We heard from one, Jim, I think in Cranbrook, was saying that he and his brother used to play Subbuteo, and one day his brother got so angry because there was a last-minute goal that he picked up two of the players and threw them out of the window. I've also got memories of my own brother playing Subbuteo and smoothing out the mat that they had to play on, because it arrived, didn't it, in the set as a cloth. So you had to make sure it was really smooth, or it just wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
Right, Phil, we have Stewart Grant here, the original Subbuteo vlogger.
Yeah, very much so. Stewart has been following the game, well, for years and years and years. You've, in effect, taken it into the 21st century. You're continuing the legacy.
Trying to, yeah. So I created the YouTube channel because I watch loads of rubbish on YouTube, loved Subbuteo, and I thought, you know what? I want to watch what I do. I want Subbuteo to be out there. And since then, I've got involved with these guys, and now we're holding tournaments. The biggest World Cup in the world we've ever had. Old rules, new rules, it's all going off. I mean, look at the atmosphere here. People turn up everywhere. This is fantastic. I absolutely love it.
Of course, here in the shopping centre, it's a great place to show off the passion for Subbuteo. It's a real public place. We're in between the Marks and Spencers and the French Connection today, up on the second level if you want to come and have a look. And you've got players from all over the world. I mean, they're all wearing their national tracksuits as well.
Yeah, so this is a sport to us, so you have to wear your kit. So we've got look at the England kit. How beautiful is that? Based on the jacket's based on the 1966 England World Cup jacket. But then the Italians have just turned up, the Welsh are here, the Spanish are here, even the Dutch are here. Look at their Dutch shirts over the back. Honestly, Greeks here, this is great. The players are coming up, looking at the screens, they're trying to work out who they're playing. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's almost like a collection of retro clothing at the same time. There's a lot of people who are wearing their passion, wearing their national dress as well. What other tournaments go on around the world? Because this is the pinnacle, but there must be other international events throughout the year.
So yeah, there's lots. So we have lots of different categories. So we have Grand Prix, we have open tournaments, and we also have satellite tournaments as well for players that are just getting into it. So tournaments get held all around the world. You have to bid to FISTIF, our FIFA, our governing body, and they try and allocate them as much as possible. So there's big tournaments all around the world. If you want to go and play in Australia, there will be a Grand Prix over there to do it. You want to go play in Brazil, you can go and do it.
And of course, you're playing the old rules today. The new rules, that's the actual tournament for the World Cup that kicks off tomorrow in the Sports Centre, just a couple of miles away. Yeah, that's the main event. So over in the Sports Centre, Saturday and Sunday is the main event. That is the FISTIF World Cup. That's the evolution and the way the game's become. This right here is the Subbuteo we used to play as children, if you like, but no longer on the floor. We do it on a table. It's played on the old baize pitches. It uses the rounded bases that we used to not be able to flick as kids, but these guys have mastered it, and now we're going to see who's the best at it. Well, Stuart, you're a really busy guy, and you're dealing with this exhibition tournament today and then the main World Cup tomorrow. You can feel the fever. There's already a crowd of people already looking on. They've been entranced by what's going on here. How many tables have we got? We've got about, 10 tables or so, isn't it? Yeah, it's a lot. A lot of players. You can come along and see it. It is flicking good fun, and we are here in Tunbridge Wells. This is BBC Radio Kent, and this is Fairground Attraction.
The brilliant Fairground Attraction, and perfect. Good morning, BBC Radio Kent. We are live in Tunbridge Wells. We are at Royal Victoria Place, and you can probably hear the buzz around me. The atmosphere here, absolutely electric. We're live here because the Subbuteo World Cup kicks off today.
Yes, we're here. You can hear this. This is actually a Subbuteo table that we're stood next to now. Sorry, Jason Christopher, he's smoothing out. He's from the England team. He's one of our representatives. He's hoping to bring it home. We've also got Ariano, who is representing Scotland as well. You've come down from Falkirk for this.
Yes, it's nice to be here. It's nice and meet friends I used to know from Rome, and so it's going to be excitement.
It just shows what an international game Subbuteo is. People play it all over the world. Yeah. And what does it mean, Jason, to be playing here in your home country, to hopefully bring home the trophy for England?
Well, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, to be back in the birthplace of the game as well is brilliant. I first played in the World Cup 2 years ago in Rome, but to have it back here is just that little bit more special. It's fantastic. And to meet like Ariano, we played against each other in Rome, which was great, you know. So to see it all again is fantastic, really.
Who are the best nations for Subbuteo? Is it still England and Scotland, or have we got to watch out for some creative Latinos, some defensively minded Scandinavians, the rugged Italians? Who are the players that we need to look out for with the fantastic fingers?
Italy, definitely Italy. They're the ones to watch, and basically all the continental sides are really, really good. The Maltese, Spanish, Portuguese, but for me, Italy are the ones to beat, really.
Okay, well, best of luck to both of you. You're playing today, obviously. What would you say to somebody who's never played Subbuteo before? How would you encourage them to get into it, Ariano?
It's nice. You meet a lot of people, and it's excitement, and it's incredible to play. It's a lovely game. Better of like PS4 or PS5 or this is, you communicate with people, play with people, and it's nice.
Play it, you get hooked.
You will get hooked. You heard that from Ariano. Now, we are live at Royal Victoria Place, BBC Radio Kent. We are here for the launch of the Subbuteo World Cup. Very exciting. Probably about 100 people standing around us as they begin to compete in 6 different categories. Right, let's go back now, and Rose has your latest on Kent's roads. The brilliant Lady Gaga with Bruno Mars. The song is called Die With a Smile. This is BBC Radio Kent. We are live in Tunbridge Wells at Royal Victoria Place for the Subbuteo World Championships. And with all that excitement about, can we have space for any more? Yes, we can. Dominic King is here after 10 this morning. Dom, what can we look forward to? For all of that, we've got about 25 more minutes of coverage live from Royal Victoria Place. It is the Subbuteo World Cup launch. The atmosphere, Stewart, is electric.
Yes, fantastic here. Just thinking I'm playing with the guys at the moment, just practicing, but we'll be off and running in a moment, and this is serious business, let me tell you.
You're so serious that I gave you the wrong name, Lawrence. You are our expert here. Just tell us about your own collection again, because you've been very, very keen on this game for a long, long time.
I started collecting when collecting became fashionable, really. And I've got some great stuff from the 50s and 60s, some of the early sets. A lot of those are in storage. You don't keep them at home. You don't have to display them. But some of the sets are not actually really that valuable in terms of monetary value. It's more of an emotional connection, strangely. And sometimes you go round to a mate's house and he says, I've got an old set in the attic. And he might bring out a Munich World Cup set, or even some of the more junior sets. But it's great fun just to reminisce, and even talking to the guys here today, the nostalgia element is paramount.
Yeah, it really, really does warm your heart. It's BBC Radio Kent, and Kate Kinsella.
Mike Scholek, BBC Radio Kent.
Well, good morning from Tunbridge Wells. We're at Royal Victoria Place. Friday mornings are rarely this exciting. This is the launch day for the Subbuteo World Cup, which takes place in the town that the game was invented. And with me, reporter Phil Harrison.
Yeah, it's a really big day for the town. Of course, Langton Green is the home of Subbuteo, just a couple of miles away from the shopping centre, where we are right in the middle of town. There's loads of exhibition matches going on today as part of this launch of the World Cup. The official tournament takes place at the Sports Centre, St John's, just a couple of miles up the road from Saturday. But there's lots of teams here. We've seen the Greeks, we've seen the Welsh, the Scottish, the English, teams from Cyprus, Malta, Italy. And we're here with the American team now. We've got Christian. You have come a very, very long way. You've come from California, Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's right. I'm coming from Los Angeles. That's where I live.
What's the game of Subbuteo like when it's played in America? Do many Americans know of the game?
Yeah, it's very popular on the East Coast. There's not many players on the West Coast, but it's growing. I'm the captain of the US team. I used to play for the Italian team in the 90s, and then I moved to the States about 20 years ago. I became American, and I joined the American Federation after not playing for like about 15 years, and I'm helping them to, get better. And the team is definitely improving, so we're excited to be here.
Now, in England, we're always saying that football's coming home, but Subbuteo definitely is this weekend. What's it like being in the town that invented the game?
It's very exciting, and it's so pretty walking all around here. I lived in Northern Ireland for a while, so it reminds me of my time when I was in the UK. And it's also very exciting to play today, because today we're playing with the original rules and the original material. So it's really going back into the past, into times. Yeah.
What are some of the top tips you can give us as a beginner Subbuteo player? Because I'm seeing a lot of players today, they're getting their teams out of special cases and rubbing them on the pitch before they start the match. What's that all about?
I mean, it's really like about everything. Just buy some teams, a pitch, and start flicking. It's very simple. I started playing when I was like 6 years old on the floor. And, then I started playing like kind of like professionally, even if it's like a hobby. But the game has everything to, deserve to become a sport. And I hope it gets recognized, because especially with the new material, it's extremely technical and it's very hard to play, very competitive.
Now, an elite level Subbuteo player, you don't come across these very often. Can you just hold your finger up? I want to see how it compares to mine. Oh, yes. I mean, it's like a finger on steroids. It's a lot thicker. A little bit longer. And it's slightly bent. I mean, can you curl the ball with that?
Yeah, I can play. I can flick with effects and stuff. Because I started playing at 6 years old, it literally actually bent. You can see curves, from all the pressure on the pitch. And, it's funny because I'm also a filmmaker now also. That's what I do. And I made a short film many years ago when I stopped playing. It's called Silver Nail. So, it's like an homage to the game. It's 10 minutes long. You can find it on YouTube. Silver Nail. It's really funny. Yeah.
Well, footballers might want to bend it like Beckham, but all Subbuteo players, they want to flick it like Christian. He has got the magic finger for the USA. Let's go to some music now. This is Fleetwood Mac with...
Fleetwood Mac and Little Lies playing on BBC Radio Kent. Well, if you've just switched on your radio, you're going to be wondering what's going on. Very different final hour of the programme today. We are live in Tunbridge Wells at Royal Victoria Place for... Well, this is very exciting. It is the Subbuteo World Cup, which is taking place right here, Phil.
It's very exciting, yeah. The players here at this exhibition matches that are taking place at the Royal Victoria Halls, they're playing the old rules matches, slightly different players, different bases, different pitches. The main tournament all starts tomorrow at the Sports Centre at St John's. But we're also here with Lawrence Lambert, toy expert. Of course, you've probably seen him on the telly, you've heard him on the radio, and he's renowned for his fingers as well. You've always been a big Subbuteo fan, Lawrence.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Always been a big Subbuteo fan. And, of course, being here today, just for the preamble, it's bringing back so many nostalgic memories. I'm talking to some of the guys who are playing. We got Paul from Harrow, and he said, I've shaped my fingernail for smoother connections. I mean, can you believe this?
Yes, exactly. Lots of men manicuring their fingers and hanging out in a shopping centre at the early bit of the morning. Only Subbuteo could do this. Of course, there's some wonderful heritage and history to Subbuteo as well. Started in Langton Green, just outside Tunbridge Wells, a real an honour, really, for the people of Kent to be celebrating. It's a game that's spread out across the world, and there's places that were involved in the building, the production, the storing of it all over the town for many, many years. You yourself, you're given a nod to Peter Adolf. You're wearing a cap for Peter Adolf's team as well.
Yeah, well, Peter was a big QPR fan, and so am I, lifelong. So we share that common denominator. But really, as you say, Phil, football is definitely coming home. I mean, this is where it was invented. In Langton Green was Peter's first factory, budding ornithologist. What do I call the name? He called the name Subbuteo after his favourite bird, apparently seen in Gibraltar. Falco Subbuteo. And the patent office said, well, Falco's a bit long, Falco Subbuteo. Let's just call it Subbuteo. The rest is history, as they say.
And that history goes back a long way, Lawrence, because this stuff is really collectible. And to an extent, that's where you come in as well, because you've regularly appeared on Antiques Roadshow. Does Subbuteo, does original Subbuteo fetch big money?
Well, in all honesty, I think it's more of an emotional connection. Some of the sets, some of the rare sets do fetch a little, but most of the people I know in my generation and age group, they collect for the nostalgia. I mean, I found at home an old exercise book from my school days. It says my name on it, Chemistry, Class 4C. And I thought, I was never good at chemistry. And as I opened the book, there's a whole host of Subbuteo results in there. And QPR actually won the league. Oh, my God.
Well, yeah, I had a QPR team as part of my growing up, my sets. I mean, the good thing is you always got the red and the blue team to start the set, and then you could go off and go really niche and collect. And some of my friends, I mean, they'd try and find lesser-known Scottish second division team kits, which often mirrored with some of the away kits of the more established teams. They must be worth a fortune. Say you've got a Cowbendeath away strip Subbuteo team. How much would something like that be worth, some of the rarer ones?
Do you know what? I'm doing you a disservice there, because you are right. Some of the heavyweight early teams, especially if they were Scottish, do fetch big money. And the reason is they didn't make them as many, by the way, in terms of, I mean, if it was the regular teams like Arsenal and Manchester United, Spurs, Leeds, Chelsea, whatever, of course, many were made. But Cowdenbeath, Edrionians, Partick Thistle, if you can find a box set from the 70s and earlier, it's worth a fair wad of cash, let me tell you.
So it could be a case of Forfar 50, East Fife 40.
Possibly, yeah. Actually, a really difficult team to find at the moment, believe it or not, is Israel from the World Cup in 1970, and Romania. That's also a really hard one, and Hungary. So some of the international teams from the early World Cups in 70, 74 do fetch big money. Do you know what? I was recently in a charity shop in London, and I saw the Subbuteo box high on the shelf, and I said to the guy who was working there, how much is that? And he said, oh, it's Crystal Palace, it's £4. Of course, when he brought it down, it wasn't Crystal Palace, it was a vertical stripe rather than a diagonal stripe, and it was St. Pauli from the German second division.
Amazing. What an amazing story. Well, this tournament really does warm the heart here at Royal Victoria Place in Tunbridge Wells. We are live here because the Subbuteo World Cup has already kicked off. It is a championship that will take place all weekend. My name's Mike Jolik, he's Phil Harrison, and there'll be more coverage across the weekend. We'll come out with this from the Communards. Very difficult. We can never say goodbye.
In other news, the Subbuteo World Cup starts today in the game's hometown of Tunbridge Wells. 32 countries are expected to take part. Lawrence Lambert from Cash in the Attic is a fan of the game.
It's a 3D experience, you can imagine. And when you're a 10-year-old kid, all sorts of imaginations can come with you playing on the field with your own team, with your own names, your own players, and it sticks. It's generational, and I'm happy to say it's back with us with a bang, even for the younger under-12 groups that are playing in the tournament.
And the